Hello, and I'm here today with Coach Getz, Kenny Yanovich, and James Filipia from Pleasant Valley Wrestling. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, Coach Getz, I'm not familiar. When did you take over?
I took over about 8 years ago is when I first took over here. I came from Emmaus High School. I was down there for an assistant for 4 years, and before that, Bethlehem Catholic for 2. This is my first year as a head coach. So.
Okay. All right. And Kenny, when did you start wrestling?
Back when I was 4 years old, I started wrestling.
Really?
So it's been a while.
Yeah. Has there been any drags? You know, have you stopped any time, or has it been every year since 4 years old?
I've been wrestling since I've been 4. My dad pushes me, I guess you'd say.
He hasn't grew much since 4 years old.
Yeah.
He's about the same size.
I don't know. I think I eat hamburgers better. And you, James, when did you start?
I've been wrestling since freshman year. A friend got me into it.
Since freshman year, and you made it this far, just starting off as a freshman year. That's pretty impressive, especially in District 11.
Thanks.
You know, that's real impressive. Tell everybody how far you went into districts.
I took 4-5 districts and then ended up taking 4-5 regionals.
Very good. Very good as a freshman.
Well, no, he started as a freshman. Yeah.
Right. You started as a freshman, and now you made it this far as a senior in 4 years. Well, what's his work ethic like, Coach?
Well, his work ethic is amazing. You know, he came in and he took the sport right away. I don't know. Should we tell him the good story about it, James?
Yes, tell me all the story. Yeah.
Well, we're going to start with James off. He's going to be embarrassed about this one. Yeah, it's a great story. James' first match ever was against a girl named Megan Penny from Stroudsburg. On the JV, and he got pinned by the girl. And, so his first match ever. And, but I know we were just sitting here kind of making fun of him a little bit. But for real, though, from getting pinned by a girl to being 4th in regionals and having almost a berth to states is amazing. And, we joke about it, how he began until where he is now. But honestly, it's amazing how far he's come. And he's been a great leader in our program. And, I really look forward to James going to college. I think he could be a very successful in D2 or D3 wrestler. And he has a lot to grow yet, So when he goes to college, he's not going to be burned out. He's still going to progress and get a lot better, and I think he could be an All-American in college. So hopefully, he continues that. And
do you plan on going to college, Kenny? Have you decided on where you're going?
Well, I plan on going to college for wrestling.
Anywhere specific yet? No? You're a senior. Time's coming pretty fast.
Well, he's been talking to Wilkes and a couple of schools around there.
Oh, good. Keeping your grades up then.
Yeah.
All right, good. He seems like a shy one.
Yeah, he's kind of shy.
Kenny, congratulations on making it to states.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I gotta ask. When you get the Hershey bar, do you eat it when you're standing on the podium?
Not on the podium, but when I get off, I pretty much.
My son was asking. My son was like, "Do they get to eat the Hershey bar?" I was like, "I don't know. That's something I would keep."
Oh yeah.
Well, you've been there before. You've been in that situation before, so
it looks better to eat than keeping a.
Well, tell me,
dresser my whole life.
Tell me about trying to get past Lazek. He's a tough wrestler.
Getting past Lezak is basically my only problem this year. His style clashes with mine, and I have issues. Just neutral, top, bottom.
Does he do something different, or? I mean, I know he said in the paper he was angry because his brother lost. Was that more of an emotional? That had to be emotional for him, but you going in there.
I don't know.
Does he do anything different than anybody else, or?
I don't think he's much different. I think right now Kenny just has a mental block against him. A lot with wrestling there's a lot of mental too. Just besides the physical aspect and also technique. My opinion is I think Kenny's just as good as him. It's just a mental block right now. He's mentally just got to get past being just as good as him and not have kind of a fear. We spoke about it. I think when you watch Kenny wrestle, he's very aggressive. He goes after kids and. For some reason, he wrestles Lezak. We spoke about that. He kind of, backs off a little bit. I mentioned it on my show last week. It just seemed like you were just a standoff. I mean, I'm not taking anything. I mean, come on, you finished second in District 11, and now you're moving on to state. You finished second in Northeast. That's a huge accomplishment. And I said on the radio show last week was that District 11 wrestling is probably one of the top-notch wrestlings in the country. Absolutely. So for you to do what you're doing, I mean, congratulations. And you're a junior as well.
Yeah, I'm a junior, so I still have another year, but I'd rather get it done now in place of states than to wait.
Right.
You never know if you're going to get hurt or not.
You really looking forward to going back to states now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything different you're gonna do down there?
No, I just think the third time's going to be the charm this time, and actually place and not go 0-2 or 1-2.
Yeah.
And deal with embarrassment for a whole year.
I think the difference would be getting a medal. You know, that's what we're gonna do this year. I think we're gonna come back with some hardware.
Yeah.
I think Kenny's really been wrestling outstanding this year.
Yeah, he really has. He really has.
Yeah, I think he's improved. The big thing is I think he's really been listening to us this year, and his technically got a lot better. So I think this year I think he should medal and do really well out there.
Do you guys do anything outside of wrestling? You hold a job, James, or?
No, not really.
No.
I'm gonna go to the gym now, but that's.
Gonna hit the gym?
Well, you played soccer for a little bit. He played soccer for high school.
Did you?
Yeah, I quit for wrestling.
Really? So once you became, your freshman year, and that was your first introduction into wrestling, and then that was it. Everything else took a sidestep to wrestling. You fell in love with the sport.
Yeah, I kind of really liked wrestling, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just quit it.
And you do anything else besides any other sports, or?
Not really any of the sports. I lift a lot.
Like
Off time.
any jobs or anything?
I would like to get a job, but I haven't been able to last year. I wasn't from injuries, etc. But now I'll be able to.
Well, wrestling's a long season.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys pick up pretty much right in October, November, and now you're just finishing now.
Yeah.
So, that takes up a lot of your time.
Oh, it does.
So, give me the daily routine. You wake up, or do you go running like you see in the movies? You see like Vision Quest. You're out there 4 or 5 in the morning.
The thing about wrestling is it's not a sport that's like track that you're gonna wake up, go through school, and then have 2 hours of track and go home and do whatever you want.
Right.
It's a 24-hour thing all the time. It's just wrestling. You wake up, you think, oh, I'm 6 over, I could only eat this much. You're going through school, you're hungry, you have to get perfect grades. Then you go to lunch, you can't eat lunch. Now you're going to practice, you practice 4 hours. Then you get home, now you got to think of what you're going to eat. Then you're watching video on somebody.
It's gonna be frustrating watching the heavyweights, and they get to eat everything. And your Burger King's right across the street. You're smelling at it the whole entire time, right?
Yeah.
Fun. Like I wrestled here, so I know exactly how it was. But we used to have one guy we used to go running with, but he was a big bread guy. He always got bread.
Yeah.
There used to be the stop and go up here. And he was like, Engle, let's go get some bread. I'm like, you're killing me.
Yeah.
You're killing me. So, do you both portion everything you're eating?
Yeah. I've been wrestling for a while now that I could even always guess my weight within 2-3 tenths. I can tell everything I eat how much it's going to weigh. So it's so easy for me now with weight, but for somebody who doesn't have as much experience, it's a lot harder.
Right.
Yeah, I almost had like a mental breakdown before regionals. And I almost quit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was having a hard time. Just a little bit of weight, and he got it off pretty easy. James likes McDonald's and Burger King a lot.
For it to be across the street, it's kind of like.
He's a fast food junkie.
Well, yeah, what 18-year-old isn't.
Exactly, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, go back to that, and you were talking about how far over were you?
I wasn't really that.
Just that districts or regionals? I'm sorry.
Before regionals?
Before regionals?
Just like a pound and a half, but my friends all had Powerades and Gatorade, and just staring at it would just made me tasty.
Hey Kenny, you said you could tell waking up?
It's really weird to explain.
You put a belt loop in your pants or something?
No, when you check your weight every 3 hours, you start understanding how much your metabolism works, how much if you eat, how much your metabolism goes up, how much it goes down if you're not eating, how much you're going to practice, how much just floating through the day. Mm-hmm. And sooner or later, you get to the point of, I was just 8 hours, I just lost 1.2 pounds. It adds up to the point you get home, you're like, I'm going to be 115.6, and you get on scale 115.8, you're that close. And it's
right.
Yeah.
And you're good for the states coming up on states. Do they weigh you ahead of time, or do you get weighed?
Yeah, you weigh in every day. So right before you get an hour before the competition, you weigh in. So you weigh in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
So
but
there's no leeway.
You get a pound each day. So it'll be scratch weight on Thursday, +1 on Friday, +2 on Saturday.
Okay. And when do you guys plan on heading out there?
We leave tomorrow afternoon, so we'll go out, and then we get to settle into the hotel room, and then we go register, and then we have a workout in the arena. Just to get used to them. I always have the kids go around to every mat, just get the feel for every mat, just look at the arena, and just kind of get used to where we're at. And
yeah, give me the breakdown. Give me the breakdown on that. You're going out there with Kenny, and
right?
You get out there. What's the first thing you guys check into the room? Do they have like a seminar or something you guys got to go to?
Not a seminar. It's just basically a workout that everybody goes to. So you have a registration. You go down, check in, get all your coaches' passes and stuff, and then once again, just get the feel for being out in Hershey. I mean, it's a huge arena, so mostly a lot of people just are not used to wrestling in that, and just kind of get that shell shock out of the way. Kenny should be kind of used to it by now, but it's still good just to get out there and just get a good warm up in and a nice just a little drill in, and just get ready to go and just get mentally prepared. And then it's I always tell the kids it's probably one of the hardest tournaments in the world to win, but if you really break it down, I always tell them it's pretty easy. I said you win one match on Thursday, one on Friday, one Saturday morning, and then one at night, and you're a state champ. So you got to win 4 bouts.
It's that easy.
It's not easy, right?
Yeah. Ask the state champ himself.
Yeah. And that's what you got to do, So that's what it is. And that's why I try to tell the kids it's 1-1 and then you went and 2, and you know what I mean. And you just got to be focused each time. And if you really look at it, I always tell the kids it's it's hard, but it's, try to look at it's not that bad, to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's Pennsylvania wrestling.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen your bracket yet, Kenny? Have you seen who you? As you're looking over the paper right now.
Yeah, it's right here.
Do you know who you're taking on first? Have you heard of him? Or?
Yeah, one of my good friends, he wrestled for PV last year. Sean Bianca wrestled him first rounds at the States last year, beat him 8-2. And I feel pretty confident in wrestling him. I feel like I could beat him.
Okay, good.
I know his weaknesses, and I feel like I can exploit him.
Do you guys watch tape? Do you watch tape on your wrestlers?
Yeah, we do. We have some tape already, and if I don't have tape out, I got a lot of friends out there at different schools that might have tape, and I might just give them a call so I can, get something on the kid or whatever.
Right.
Last year, like I said, I think we were lucky we saw the kid last year with Sean, so we know what he got. I still like to watch a little bit of tape to see, because some people do change up some things, so I would definitely like to get a little tape later on them, and we do break tape down. We got tape on Fuentes. I got him up on already from last year, in case we run into him, and when we're out there, too, we'll send one of my assistants out to tape the match of the winner or loser, who we're ever going to get.
Right.
So we do that. So we'll break that down, film right then and there. So we'll tape that, tape that on the phone or whatever, and then we'll bring it back and watch it and break it down and pick up weaknesses and stuff to, so we can, to exploit and beat the kid.
Right. And
so,
with James, again, you came in as a freshman. Did you notice a big learning gap between the kids, say, like Kenny, that was wrestling since he was 4?
I didn't really know what to expect coming into the sport. I thought it was kind of easy.
You knew nothing about this sport? I mean, that's astonishing to me. I mean, it really is.
Not really about the weight cutting and all that, how hard it would be to pick up.
Right. I mean, did you say, when you came in, was it like a shell shock to you?
Yeah, it kind of was a shell shock. Coming into all these JV tournaments, how technical you have to be.
Do you remember besides the girl, who was one of your toughest ones? Was there a kid, at your weight class for 4 years? I mean, I know Kenny's been wrestling the same kids for the past 3 years, just about. Yeah. Was there a kid that, hopefully don't say the girl, but there was a girl, a guy that went all the way through all your senior year, that it was like a rivalry, you knew in that coming into that season, that was the kid that you had a...
Not really, but I knew there was a kid that I probably hated wrestling. I was probably Grimaldi. That's all I can think of.
Was he just dirty, or was he
I was, I guess, scared of him.
Really?
My ears.
Really? Really? What made you scared of him?
I get his strength. I couldn't do anything against him.
No?
He was just too quick. And I would run into him every quarterfinals of districts.
Your eyes just go back in your head. You're like, oh, here he is again. I can't get rid of him. I mean, maybe, hopefully he was thinking about the same thing about you, too. And the same.
I think that, James, when he first wrestled him, I think he got his first 2 matches, he got pinned by him, and they lost 9-1, and last week he lost 10-8 to him. He was beating him. Actually, James was beating him. So what really was amazing is James really closed that gap down. From being afraid to closing the gap down to 10-8. I wish we could wrestle him one more time. Unfortunately, his high school careers, both of them are going to be over. But, I think maybe the next step would have been beating Grimaldi. And that's what we're looking at. We were going to look to do, hopefully. The one thing about James coming out, what's great about it is, when he comes up, a lot of kids come up from midget program on the way up and have a lot of bad habits. When James comes in with us, we can teach him what to do right, and he doesn't really pick up as many bad habits to break. So that was a lot. And the one thing, I got to give James credit for is, he really learned the sport and learned the pretty good habits, and, a tough kid. And, I was very shocked with him how well he did. I think his work ethic was, one of the best in the room.
Yeah, I mean, during the season, he was one of the ones that I was definitely keeping an eye on. I said it on the show 2 or 3 times. So even when you went into districts, I was like, I'm going to put a star next to this one. I said it on the show that I'm going to put a star next to this one. Nobody's really talking much about him. Nobody really was. Yeah. And, I mean, from all the papers and everything. I mean, so I'm going to give myself credit on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, even after he took 4th at regionals, I have a lot of friends like from Nazareth and Northampton came up to me and were like, "Who is this Felipe kid? Where does he come from? Like, we never." And I explained, like, he's only been wrestling 4 years. Like, get out of here, And a lot of people are amazed how good he is. That's once again, that's a credit to his work ethic again.
Right.
So, I think he opened a lot of eyes this year. And like I said, hopefully he goes on to college, and that's what we're going to push for. And we're going to start looking at different places for him to go now, and I think he'll do well there.
Right. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the girls either. I mean, Pennsylvania's. I see it even in the youth. So there's a lot more girls wrestling, even since I was a wrestler. So there's going to be. I think there's going to be some halfway.
Oh yeah, we have we had a girl that graduated from PV, Sam Klingel, who's ranked number 1 or 2 in the nation in girls wrestling right now.
Wow.
And has a scholarship down to King College, and she's doing really well.
That's all I say Olympic wrestling too.
Yeah, we do, and that's a huge thing, man. It's that's a big thing. Olympic wrestling, losing the Olympics, I really think it's going to come back. It's the oldest sport in the world. I mean, how can you take that away? Yep. And I really think a lot of people around the world are shocked. And, when do you ever see Russia, United States, and Iran coming together for a cause? Right. And you have 3 countries like that coming together, that says a lot.
Right. I went on a rant on the show a few weeks ago saying, you got football players and you got baseball players that they have something to look forward to after college.
Right.
When it comes to wrestling, guys like Kenny, guys like James, this is their next step.
Yeah,
here.
It is.
Nationality, you're not going to go into the WWF or WWE.
Right.
Yeah. But this is a big step. And I know I've signed every pension I can get to save the Olympic wrestling, and the audience knows how big that's an issue for me.
Yeah.
Just because of guys like you guys.
Right.
There's so many kids that once you take away that Olympic part of it, what's them to say? You know what? Why even have these wrestling college?
Yeah.
Right.
Kids lose out the ability to go to college for free. Say they weren't the smartest kids in school, but they put all their time in wrestling. Now they can't even go to college at all.
I mean, I'm just guessing, but that's got to be one of your dreams is to maybe one day represent if you get a chance. I mean, you would be almost right there.
Yeah.
On the next couple Olympics,
United States. I mean, there's only a finite amount of people who could say to everybody watch me because I was on that team.
Yeah, and you've been working since you were 4 years old, and to take that away from somebody is...
Yeah, and it's just amazing, not just in the United States, though, but over, I had the privilege of wrestling overseas, and, in Bulgaria and Russia, I was over there, and Moldova, and, it's serious over there, that's their sport, and that's their national sport, they love it, so that's really, I think, we're going to have a lot of pressure from overseas, too, just besides the U.S., because it is their sport over there. Right. So I think it'll be interesting. And a lot of big money from overseas goes into wrestling, especially in Russia. So that's where a lot of big money goes into is their wrestling program, and that's their livelihood. So.
Did you wrestle on a national team?
Yeah, I was on the world team for 2 years. Yeah. So I wrestled in Russia, Bulgaria. Yeah, so I was over there for a while. It was nice. It was pretty neat to do.
All right.
Yeah, so.
And I'm going to ask Kenny the same question to you. Is there one kid that you knew coming into the season that...
Well, you obviously know I'm going to have the defending state champion, Lezak. But there's also a couple kids like Tyrone Klump I was having issues with last year. I don't know why. There's no reason, but I just had issues with him. And it turns out he dropped the weight, but it'll still come in the season. I was like, I got to really buckle down and see what's wrong with him. I have to finish what I find in film and what I go over with them I actually have to do in a match. I can't just fold.
Yeah, there's always going to be that one guy. There's always going to be that one guy. So, but hey guys, thanks for coming in. I really do appreciate you guys on the show. And one more question. I'm sorry, Coach. Next season, you got to be looking forward to next season already. I mean, you got a roster full of a lot of young talented freshmen coming up.
We got some young kids coming up. Kenny coming back, Garrett Gouger coming back, and. We're gonna build for there. They also have a pretty talented heavyweight, has been behind Mike Benner, who was, one of the better heavyweights that we had. A kid named Ahmad Curtis, who's going to be really tough next year, plays football here, and he'll open some eyes. He was a 2-time JV champ, behind Benner, District 11 JV champion, and he'll do really well. So we're looking forward to next year with some things, and the programs has been doing really well. We hope to continue the tradition.
You really bounced it back. So
yeah, we did. I mean, some of the great things that helped bounce it back. I think beating Nazareth 2 years in a row, beating Northampton 2 years in a row. Has really helped it. My greatest feat, I love going down and beating Nazareth. Being from Nazareth, I like going down there and beating them. So it's been great to do that. And and I got to credit to our kids. Our kids really have taken to us. Have really taken to our staff and. Perform because they work hard, and that's what it really comes down to.
You got so many coaches here, so just announce the coaches role.
I got a bunch of coaches here. I have, starting is my brother, Mark Getz. He wrestled for Bethlehem Catholic, who, as you know, right now is one of the powerhouses in Pennsylvania. He also wrestled. He was at Nazareth for a little bit too with me. You have Eric Murphy. He was a heavyweight for PV. What is it, about 4 or 5 years ago? No, longer than that. 10 years ago. Wrestled for him. We have John Henry Zarzicki, who was a state runner-up for Pleasant Valley, and Chris Serving, who plays at States and wrestled for me about 5 years ago. He was with us.
You put a heck of a coaching staff.
Yeah, you know what? I think we have one of the best coaching staffs around, bar none. I mean, it's top-notch. So I think we cover all our bases from top to bottom, and these guys come in and work. The other guy we have here is Keith Smith, who's not here. Was a state place winner for Pius. So we got, some of the top-notch coaches coming in to help, and, without them, I couldn't do it, you know what I mean? And they really, they do a lot for me, and I appreciate everything they do.
Right, and the next couple of years, it seems like Strasburg's, they're rebuilding pretty hard.
Yep.
East Stroudsburg.
Yep.
Pocono Mountain.
Yeah, I think,
West.
Yeah, East is actually, East has gotten a lot better. It's, I really think, from us in Strasburg, really putting some great talent out there and some teams that's making these teams work harder. And, I only think that MVC is also getting better. I think they've been pretty well represented down in District 11. You've seen Strasburg, East, and us now, having had a lot of finalists. We're getting a lot of district champs now from here. We got, district champ and outstanding wrestler from South. And, I think it's outstanding. And I really think, since we came up here, 8 years ago, and I think we set the bar pretty high at Pleasant Valley, and teams are really doing a lot to catch up to us, and I think it's making them better. So I think it's been a great run for 8 years, and I've been
Do you have any
enjoying it.
connection with the youth programs?
Yeah, I have a little bit of connection with the youth programs.
I know it's a big step because youth, middle school.
Right, yeah, and that's the key thing. The youth has got to do the same thing as the high school is doing, and we got to keep the tradition going. That's another thing too. We brought a lot up here. If you go into our wrestling room, it's we have a lot of signs up now. Tradition with state place winners and national tournament place winners and 100 match winners, and that's things that we keep going so these kids can see it and they want to get themselves up on that up on their sign.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge thing. Even when I walk down into the gym in Nazareth, it's a great thing to see your name up on boards, or my cousins and my nephews, and everybody goes there, and that's my uncle, and it's a pretty neat thing, you know what I mean? And I want people from PV to do the same thing. I want them to come back and see their uncle or brother or sister, whoever it is, on those boards, and that's important to do. So.
All right, maybe you can answer this, and this is a question that came up. Has there been a state champ from Monroe County?
No, there has not. No, so that's the one thing we haven't gotten yet.
We're like one of the few only counties that...
Yeah, we've had a couple state runner-ups here, but there has not been a state champ. So that's the one thing, we've really been working on is getting that first state champ.
We're going to be pulling for Kenny.
Yep, so hopefully Kenny will be it.
James, good luck on where you decide to go and continue doing work, man, because obviously it looks like you're hard working to come in here as your freshman year. Guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks, James. Appreciate it, guys.